If you're in a neurodiverse relationship, you may have had the experience of arguing about the same thing over and over again. The topic changes, the details change, but somehow the conversation ends up in the same place. One partner feels criticized, misunderstood, or overwhelmed. The other partner feels unheard, alone, or unsupported. And both of you end up wondering, why do we keep having the same argument? I'm Dr. Ken Roberson, and I specialize in working with neurodiverse couples. In this video, I'd like to explain why these arguments happen, and more importantly, what couples can do differently. One of the most important things I've learned is that most neurodiverse couples are not arguing about what they think they're arguing about. They believe they're arguing about household responsibilities, intimacy, communication, parenting, finances, or social obligations. But underneath those topics is usually a much deeper pattern. Let me give you an example. Imagine a wife says to her husband, "I wish I didn't have to remind you about things." To her, this may seem like a simple expression of frustration. She's tired. She feels like she's carrying too much responsibility. She wants help. But her husband may hear something very different. What he hears is, "You're failing. You're disappointing me. You're not good enough." As a result, he becomes defensive, withdraws, or explains why he forgot. Now she feels even less understood. So she pushes harder. She explains more. She points out additional examples. And now she feels even more criticized. The conversation escalates. Neither person feels heard. Both people leave feeling hurt. And the next time a similar issue arises, the exact same cycle repeats itself. This pattern is incredibly common in neurodiverse relationships. One partner often experiences a chronic sense of emotional disconnection. The other partner often experiences a chronic sense of criticism or failure. Neither person intends to create those feelings, but each person's attempt to solve the problem unintentionally makes the problem worse. What makes this especially difficult is that both partners are usually making sense from their own perspective. The non-autistic partner may feel, "If I don't bring things up, nothing changes." The autistic person may think, "No matter what I do, it isn't enough." Both perspectives can be true at the same time. This is one reason why these arguments become so entrenched. The couple begins focusing on who's right. But being right rarely resolves the problem. The more useful question is, what happens between us when this issue comes up? In my work with couples, I often help them shift their attention away from the content of the argument and towards the pattern of the argument. The content is what you're arguing about. The pattern is how the argument unfolds. And the pattern is usually where the solution lies. When couples begin recognizing the pattern, they often experience a tremendous sense of relief. Instead of seeing each other as the problem, they begin seeing the cycle as the problem. That shift is powerful. It allows both partners to become teammates rather than opponents. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen," or "You're always criticizing me," the conversation becomes, "I think we're getting caught in our pattern again." Now, both partners can slow down. They can become curious about what's happening. They can ask, "What are you feeling right now? What did you hear me say? What are you needing from me?" Those questions often lead to a much more productive conversation. Another important point is that neurodiverse couples often have different communication styles. One partner may be looking primarily for emotional connection and reassurance. The other may be looking primarily for clarity, information, and problem solving. Neither approach is wrong, but if each partner expects the other to communicate exactly the same way they do, disappointment is almost inevitable. Successful neurodiverse couples learn how to recognize and respect these differences. They become bilingual in a sense. They learn to speak each other's language. That doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen. I've seen many couples who felt hopeless learn how to understand each other more effectively, communicate with less conflict, and build stronger, more satisfying relationships. The goal is not to eliminate disagreements. Every healthy couple disagrees. The goal is to stop having the same painful argument over and over again. When couples learn to recognize the cycle they're trapped in, they can begin creating a different outcome. And that often becomes the turning point in their relationship. If you're in a neurodiverse relationship and find yourself having the same argument repetitively, know that you're not alone. There are reasons this happens, and there are ways to change it. Thank you for watching.